Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm here to show you pockets. This pocket is going to be pocket A. This is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and there's just a few folds, a little bit of gluing, and it's really simple. I like to make pocket A out of double-sided paper because then you get this effect and you don't have the white. This particular paper I don't really ink up because it's just a very nice paper to start with. So let's get started in showing you pocket A. So I make myself samples, and this is my sample of pocket A, and I just keep this in my templates so that I know exactly where my measurements are going to be. Again, you're going to want to keep your directions in mind. If you want your paper to go this way or this way or this way, you must keep in mind, so when you fold it, you want to be conscious of the direction. I like the inside to be up because the paper on the back is usually generic and I don't have to worry about it. So this one's generic on both sides. Doesn't really matter to me. I think I'm going to have the let's do the polka dots on the top for this one. So I'm going to turn that over, and this is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. I'm going to go ahead and score. My first score mark is going to be right down the middle at 6 inches. All right, so now if your paper is in this direction, that you want this to be up because this is going to be the up part of your pocket, you're going to want to make sure that you're scoring at the bottom because that's what you're going to fold up. So I'm just going to turn this over. My 6 inch mark is here. I'm going to look at my directions, and I'm going to score at 4.5 inches here. And I'm just going to score right across and right across. Okay. Now in order to get these little flaps, because this is going to fold up and in, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to grab my pencil and I'm going to mark, just put a little tick mark right here at 2 inches. And let's see, where's that 2 inches? And I made, as you can see, I made some purple marks, so I know that that's 2 inches. So when I go to make my tick mark, I can do it at 2 here and 2 here. All right, so once I do that, the middle of our 6 inch and the tick mark is where we're going to need to score another line. Now on my scoreboard, I have taken another red marker and followed that down. I don't care, it doesn't really matter where it's at. You can put it anywhere on the board that's comfortable for you. For me, it didn't matter. I am going to take that corner right at that little tick mark. I'm going to line it up with that red piece, and let me find my other red piece, and then I'm going to my red mark and my red mark, and I'm going to line that up. And I'm just going to put a little pressure on it, and I'm going to go ahead and score and score. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to find that red mark, that little tick mark. I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to hold it tightly, and I'm going to go ahead and score. Now, once that's done, you're going to fold up your edges, fold up your edges, fold, and fold. And this part I'm just going to be a little more careful about to get it where I want it, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold. Sometimes it helps too if you fold this part first to get that fold going. Get a nice little crease there. you have your pocket. Okay, now let me just get a little readjusting done here. Now what we're going to want to do is, this is going to be a top pocket here. So this is very, very simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these edges. I don't glue them first until everything's folded, just so I can kind of get them in line with each other. So I'm going to glue that edge down. Get that one glued down. And I'm going to flip it over and glue this pocket down. You can glue these down as well first, those little flaps, if you want them to not kind of be a hindrance, which I probably should have done. But glue that pocket down, and then I'm going to glue this side. I'm going to glue that. And I'm not worried that there's a little bit hanging over there. I can always trim that off. So now we have our pockets glued down. And I am going to take a minute. If you can see, I've got this little line here. I'm not too concerned about it, but I'm going to take a minute just to trim that off. Actually, I think I'm going to glue it first because that'll keep it sturdy. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all the way up. I'm going to glue the bottom. Okay, that's all glued. And then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to trim this up a little bit. You have pockets here, here, and here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my punch. Now in the last video I measured them out, but I'm just going to eyeball them this time. And then we have our top pocket. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my cinch in. And the side that you're going to want to cinch is going to be this side. So you sort of have your smooth edge out. Plus I like the pockets going backwards. So I'm going to bring my cinch in. And you can measure these all out. This is probably a task I should do, is measure everything out when I make these pockets, exactly where my measurements should be. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eyeball it, see where there's a center right in here, and I'm just going to look at it and kind of look at, on the end you'll see sort of where it starts to hit. I was just measuring with my fingers, but I found that I was a little bit off doing that, so that looks good about right there. Make sure it's in. I'm going to hold it while I'm pressing, and then I have my holes. Just like the other pocket that I made, I always make a bunch of these ahead of time. I haven't corner rounded them yet, but I will. And you'll be able to have your top pocket. Well, maybe. I tested these once, so they should fit. And if they're a little tight, just trim them down. Trim them down a little bit, and then I have my pocket. Okay, that's that one. Let's get that out of the way. So here we have pocket B, what I'm calling pocket B. It's a lot like the other one. I used double-sided paper, but this is where I'm going to get a little bit of a different pocket down here. This one I put a punch in, but I think the one that I show you, I'm going to show you something a little bit different, where I'm not going to punch that or I'm not going to punch this because I'm going to do something a little bit different. I like to sometimes do some tabs. So let's get started on that one. This is a 10 3/4 by 12 inch piece of paper. Again, you want to be conscious of the direction of your paper. And this one is generic on both sides, so I'm not going to worry about it. I think I'd like the plaid on the bottom and this on the top. So this is going to be the 12-inch side, and we're going to score that at 6 inches. And of course, I forgot to mention I have a template, so you can see here 6 inches. It's 10 3/4 by 12, and then I want to bring this up. Oh, B. I don't know why I wrote B, but it's 3. I can't see it. 3 and at a 1/2 inch. So I've got my score line down the 6 inches. Like I said, I don't have to worry about the direction, but if this was something I wanted to be up, I need to make sure my pocket's coming down here. And I scored this at 3. I'm not really sure where I learned this. I think I was watching people make file folders, and I just thought, well, I could make a different kind of pocket for my books. I'm going to bring this straight across. And this one I did a little bit differently because I notched out this piece down here just to remove a little bit of the bulk. And I'm going to go this way. And this is paper. This is why I have some paper that I strictly only use for not folding. If I wanted to cut pieces out, as you can see, it cracks. And so I don't use any paper that cracks in my projects. Sometimes you can alleviate that by folding it back the other way when it cracks, so you can have it on the inside, but I just soon not deal with it and see it's cracking pretty bad. That's good for an example. And then we're gonna bring up our 1/2 inch, and this is where I notched this little piece out. And I literally took just a tiny, tiny little sliver, basically down that seam, each side. So it's not going to be very noticeable, and it's going to be towards the inside, and it's going to be in the cinch binding system. So you're not really going to notice that little notch out of there. And then before I glue these up, I'm going to take a notch out. And then before I actually glue them up, as you can see on this one, I was kind of playing around, and I thought, well, I'd like this to have a little pocket here. So basically all I did, I didn't even really measure this. I just sort of took my scoreboard, and again, I found those notches that we talked about in the first one, and I kind of just lined it up. Let's see, here to here. So yeah, I just kind of fiddled around with it, and I thought, yeah, that looks good enough. And I just took my, let's see, scoring tool. And like I said, I wasn't too particular about it. I think it was right here. And I just, wait a minute, I got the wrong one. That's okay, it doesn't matter. And I just did that. Then I folded it up, and then because I want to glue that down, I just snipped off a little bit there. And you don't have to, you can just leave the pockets the same. It's not a big deal. So then the first thing I glued is I'm going to glue my little tabs up. Oh, and you have to notch this out too, otherwise when you try to put those two together, you just kind of get a little bit of a mess. So I just literally notched that little space out so that when I put them up, it didn't, see, now it's not going to touch each other. So I'm going to glue those up. injury waiting to happen. Like we've all had those, haven't we? Alright, so I'm going to glue that side up. I'm going to glue this side up. And this one, like I said, is going to be a side pocket. And then I'm going to pull these up, and I'm going to fold it in half. And my pocket's going to be over here. But first I need to glue up these edges. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. And this one. Come on, Art Glitter Glue, don't fail me now. Been bragging about you. Okay, maybe I didn't get any on there, because that stuff usually grabs super quick. Alright. There we go. It's because I'm trying to hurry. This is the second video, because I hurried in the first one, and I just made too many mistakes, so I didn't, I was like, oh, I better do this video over. So I want my pocket to come out the side. So this is already bent. This is going to be on the outside of the book. This is going to get your punches. So you're going to want to glue the top and the bottom shut. And normally I would put a notch so that I would know I'm going to glue that, but because I'm going to do something different, that's what I had done before. I glued the wrong edges. And so one of these in the book is going to be a top pocket when I really wanted it to be a side, but no harm done, I can still use it. Alright, so I'm going to glue those sides, top and bottom. And again, I have, let's get some punches in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my cinch again. And this one I'm going to leave open. Let me move that real quick. This one I'm going to leave open, but I've just noticed I didn't glue that one down. And I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I do want that glued down. And I'm stopping to put this pin in because it's real important. If you don't get that pin in there, it gets stopped up. It sticks really fast. So now I'm all glued up. Have my side, have my pockets, top and bottom. Now on this one, opposite of the other one, you want to glue the folded edge, not the raw edge, because that's where you're going to put the pocket. So again, I'm going to bring my cinch, and I'm just going to line it up and kind of give it a look-see here. And you can always measure this and get the exact middle. In the cinch, it has a center. It has a little arrow pointing where the center is. So you could actually line this up and get an exact measurement. I don't really worry about it. So remember, I'm punching the folded side for this particular pocket. And that's what's going to go in with the binding rings. Alright, so I'm going to move that out of the way. And again, I have pockets. And this particular pocket fit, we're going to call this pocket B. I might have had this one the first time, but this particular size fit pocket A as well. So I just, I wanted a little note on there to know that I want to put these in the side. So for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And again, I usually go through when I make a bunch of these. I just made these up. And I would punch round my corners. I like to round the corners on most everything that you're going to use for this type of an insert pocket, because they just go into the pockets much easier. There's less to catch on. I don't know what everybody else does, but that's just kind of how I like it. So you don't see it here, but you don't have the little finger thing here to get that out either. So this particular one, Sometimes I like to do this, and I have a tab punch. One of my favorite tools. I use it all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch out 2 of these, and you'll see why in just a minute. So I'm going to punch out 2 of them, and oh no, I have it in my glue. Here's my gluing thing. Okay. So what I'll do is kind of get the center, and I like to have the opposite on each side. So I'm going to put my tab, yeah, about in the center. So what I have learned is to glue, let me get back in frame here if I'm out. I'm going to glue just that little bottom first, and I'm going to glue that down here just to kind of get it where I want it. Then I'm going to do this opposite because I want this to be on the side of the plaid and this to be on the side of the non-plaid. So then I'll glue this whole one and then I line it up with the one that's already there, and yep, perfect. So now my pocket goes in like this, and it has the tab, and sometimes it looks really neat when they're hanging like outside of the book, so I really liked the little tab thing. And sometimes I'll put these on after, depending what I want to do in here, because I like to do lines and stuff. So that's coming in the next video. I've already done the video of the flip throughs of the 2 books. I had just taken to a lady yesterday, so I had to get those videos done first. But these are how I make the other 2 pockets. I'll do the flip through, and then that's going to be my last video. It was a lot of fun showing you guys how to do this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, or if there's anything else I didn't explain correctly or I can show you, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Have a great day, everyone.